The sun shone brightly as the birds chirped, singing their songs as a soft breeze blew against her face. It was a beautiful start to a normal day, especially for Daisy. Being King Ben and Queen Mal's daughter was fun for the most part, but came with a lot of responsibilities. It was a nice change to have a breather and to soak in the sun. She rarely had the time for herself, especially when she attended her classes at Auradon Preparatory and tried to solve disputes amongst the residents of both Auradon and the Isle of the Lost. Ever since her mom bridged the two lands, many of the villain kids had their own happily ever after, but that didn't stop them from having problems with one another. So Ben and Mal enacted a council. It had members from both Auradon and Isle of the Lost. Evie, Jay, Carlos, Uma, Audrey, Jane, Lonnie, and Doug were the ones who landed on the council. They all managed their land affairs, making sure everyone was behaving and being kind. They made sure everything was equal for everyone, which worked out. Funnily enough, Daisy was close friends with the children of the council members, just like her mom was. Evie's daughter Jade was her best friend. They carried on the original Villain's Kid legacy, though they always got caught when they were doing something naughty. It was as if her mom always knew what they were going to do, even when Daisy tried her best to sneak away with it. Before we delve further, if you're new to Villain Nation, please remember to subscribe and turn the notifications on so you won't miss out on any of our Descendants videos. Daisy looked up from the book of spells her mom gave her to see Jade walking toward her and taking a seat next to her on the green grass. Jade smiled happily and said, "Isn't it nice out?" "Yeah," Daisy said, nodding as she looked back at the book. "I found a spell to make my hair a different color. Want to try it out with me?" "No," Jade said. "Your spells are always backfiring. The last time we tried one, I was stuck as a gerbil for a week. I will not do that again." "Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad," Daisy said as she giggled. The look on Jade's face was priceless. "Okay, fine. It was awful." "You still haven't gotten control over your magic, huh?" Jade asked seriously. "No," Daisy said. Her heart sank as she thought about it. Her magic was unpredictable and never really worked the way she wanted it to. Why couldn't her magic be like her mom's? All the stories she heard about her mom's magic sounded great and powerful, and it hurt knowing that Daisy didn't have proper control. "It's okay, you'll get the hang of it," Jade said, smiling at her friend. "But in the meantime, you want to try on a new dress I made? My mom loved the design." "Sure. Does later work? I have class," Daisy said with a big grin on her face. Jade surely got her mom's talent for fashion and design. It was amazing. The two girls waved at each other, saying goodbye before heading off to class. "Have a good day," Jane said before hopping off towards her class. Once Daisy arrived at her Good Spells and Magic taught by Jane, Fairy Godmother's daughter, she saw that everyone was staring at her with wide eyes. Ignoring their looks, she shrugged it off and took a seat. When Jane arrived, she looked panicked and asked for Daisy to come with her. "What's going on?" Daisy asked Jane, who was speeding now through the hallway. "There's been a royal emergency," Jane said. "We tried to contain it, but it seems it has gotten around to the student body." "What's the emergency? Why aren't you getting my mom and dad?" Jane turned to look at her, her face grim and full of despair. "Something awful has happened. Please, just follow me." Daisy shut up and instead followed Jane down the halls of Auradon Preparatory and towards the castle rooms. Usually, the hallways were packed with kids, but this time it was empty. Nothing and no one was in sight for miles as they made their way into the council room. It sent a shiver down Daisy's spine, seeing those familiar corridors look so dead. She knew that something horrible must have happened for them to be so empty. As they entered the council room, she saw all the members there, waiting for her around the table. Evie ran up to her, hugging her tightly. Her blue hair tickled Daisy's face as she pulled her into the embrace, whispering, "Oh, sweetheart, it's going to be okay." "Aunt Evie, what's going on?" she asked, this time demanding that someone tell her what's going on. Doug, Evie's husband, turned to her with eyes and said, "You mean you don't know what's happened?" No, Daisy said. It seems I'm the only one who doesn't, and nobody wants to tell me. As she spoke, the giant doors to the room swung open to reveal Queen Mal, her mom. She usually wore her purple and green dress, but today she wore her jumpsuit. Daisy knew she only wore this when she went out on life-threatening missions. Will someone tell me what's going on? Daisy yelled, getting tired of being ignored. Nobody was telling her anything, and it was driving her insane. Didn't she deserve to know what was going on? Why does everyone look so nervous? Her mother looked at her, shaking her head as she sighed. Mal turned to look at everyone else and said, "Please let me speak to my daughter alone." Daisy scrunched her eyebrows, confused, as she watched the council members exit the room. Before Evie left, she whispered into her ear, "It's going to be okay, I promise." What was going to be okay? What happened that was so bad? Nervously, she waited. As she looked around, she noticed that everyone was there except for her dad. King Ben was missing from the room. She could feel her heart drop to the pit of her stomach, almost as if she knew what Mal was going to say. "Sweetheart," Mal said as she reached out and brushed Daisy's purple hair behind her ear, "something's happened to your father." "What happened?" Daisy asked, her heart racing in her chest. Her hands shook by her sides as Mal motioned for her to take the seat beside her. "First, I don't want you to worry, okay?" That only made Daisy even more anxious. How could people expect her not to worry when clearly something had happened? Daisy took a deep breath and nodded, watching her mom through wide eyes. Mal continued, "I promise that everything will be okay." The suspense was killing Daisy. It felt as if everyone was walking on eggshells around her, and she hated it. Whatever the news was, she knew she could take it. She was stronger than everyone was giving her credit for. "Please, just tell me," Daisy said. Her voice was firm as she nodded. She tightened her jaw, scrunching her brows. Before Mal had spoken, Daisy had a sinking feeling she knew what was going on. Her mom would never hold a meeting like this without the love of her life, and Daisy's father. Mal said, "Your father was kidnapped." I'm Lady Blah Blah, and as always, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, feel free to check out another one. And don't forget to put a like, subscribe, and share this video with your villain friends.